Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Marketplace. Breaking news this afternoon. President Mahama announced his first set of ministerial nominees, naming Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson to head the Finance Ministry. Meanwhile, John Jinapor is Energy Minister Designate as the new government tackles a power crisis. And government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim pushes for interministerial action to effectively contain inflation, which soared to 23.8% in December 2024. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for joining us. Details coming up. And thanks for staying with us, everyone. President John Mahama has announced a first set of ministerial nominees. We now know who would likely be the head of the Finance Ministry, Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson. He is the Finance Minister Designate. There in your shots, we captured him entering Parliament this afternoon. Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson is going to be the Finance Minister if he's passed by the Appointments Committee. Joining me in studio with more on a statement released by the presidency, my colleague Winston Taki. Good afternoon to you. So we've been looking through the list. So aside from Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson, the president has made some other nominations. Tell us about it.
So he's nominated Don Abdullah, also Jinapor, to lead the energy ministry. But before then, when we look at Ato Forson, it appeared he has, Cassiel Ato Forson, over the years, he was then the former deputy finance minister under the then Mahama administration. So he being the minister was something that many projected that is likely to happen. He oversaw key development during the past government time. He was then part of the chairman, board members of the Bank of Ghana, also alternative governor of the IMF then, and also he has championed key policies, especially due to his area of specialization, which is the taxation aspect. And so many have looked up to him to possibly champion the government's tax policy. We've seen the president himself advocate for rationalization of the tax policy. Many have also wondered how will these take effect. Putting him in that position looked quite strategic for the John Mahama administration. Now, going to the energy ministry, currently government needs about $90 million to deal with the projected imminent power shortages due to the inability to supply the needed fuel to power certain thermal facilities in the country. However, there are still conversations as to how to handle, and that will be the burden of Abdullah Jinapor, who will be heading the energy ministry subsequently.
All right. Thanks for joining us with that update. My colleague Winston Taki there. Joining us on Zoom is Professor Peter Quarter. He is Executive Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us. Prof. First, a quick reaction to the nomination of Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson as Finance Minister Designate. What work is cut out for him?
Many happy returns, Darryl. I think his background, as your colleague said, his background in finance, taxation, and also having been the Deputy Minister of Finance in the past, puts him in a very good position to deliver. However, that ministry goes beyond finance investment or taxation. government policies, its effect on the business sector, its effects on livelihood, the social and economic ramifications of government policies and programs has to be carefully thought through. And therefore, I would urge him, given that he's experienced and also is educated much very well, to also use technical people, knowledgeable technical people, as well as fall on research, so that whatever policies and decisions they take will be well informed and will deliver on its mandate. So that's the point I want to raise. Given how we find ourselves, where we find ourselves now, we have high debt issues. We are undertaking debt restructuring. Inflation is edging up. Some financial issues as well. But for the good thing is that the growth rate is picking up quite well. So these are all things that he has to tackle, and also the key thing, unemployment problems, youth unemployment. All of this has to be tackled within 4 years. There's very high expectations about the current government, and of course the finance ministry is key.
Very high expectations. Let's see how he pulls through with his vetting when he faces the appointments committee. Seems almost likely he would be named the finance minister eventually. But you talk about inflation, which is a big issue. We got a reading of the December 2024 inflation, 23.8%. What do you make of the fact that we missed our target for 2024? Any surprises there?
No surprise at all, given that we have tended to rely more on rain-fed agriculture. So you could predict what is going to happen to inflation, what is going to happen to food production when you look at the weather patterns. And we saw that in the northern part of the country, the rain didn't come at the right time. We were not having enough rain. We have not done a lot of irrigated agriculture. So one would expect that food prices will start inching up. And therefore, it's not surprising. And also, given that we're in an election year, December was an election year. That's when the data was November, December. So there's pressure on the economy, and therefore demand pressure.
Yeah, rising cost of food. That was the main driver for inflation in the month of December 2024. How do we get around it? I mean, we thought we had a hang over it. Apparently not.
I don't think we have fully around this problem. We had land is less than 5%. Not until we do more, we irrigate more of the land and stop relying on rainfall to feed our agriculture. This problem will to be with us. And then, of course, supporting the agricultural value chain. We are unable to process them, we are unable to store them, and a lot of them go to waste. So that is also very critical.
Yeah, and the previous government
supporting the value chain, credit, storage, marketing, so it's gotten our head around this problem.
Yeah, just one last question. It appears you're having a bit of a challenge with the internet, but hopefully you can hear this one. I mean, the previous government had the flagship policy of planting for food and jobs. So as the new government has taken over, what would you advise? Do they continue with those flagship policies, seeing that they didn't live up to expectation quite?
Yeah, the planning for food and jobs, in a way, helped reduce some of the challenges with agriculture. Sorry, but I think there's more room for improvement. There's more. Can you hear me?
Hear you, loud and clear.
Yeah. Yes. So what I'm saying is that there's more room for improvement. We technically ought to do more irrigation and also support large-scale commercial agriculture. Our focus of supporting small-scale agriculture with fertilizer subsidy, which sometimes doesn't ends up being smuggled or not being targeted properly, should be reviewed so that we target something in terms of actual adding value processing for them. And for me, the irrigation is key. I believe if we want to do another planting for food and jobs 2.0 or 3.0, need to revise.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Peter Quartey. Thank you for joining us with your perspective on the nomination of Dr. Cassiel Ato Forson as the finance minister by the president. If he gets past the appointments committee, he's going to be the next finance minister. Also, your thoughts on rising inflation. Unfortunately, internet connection not too good there. Well, we want to still stay with reactions to the nominations by the president. I want to bring in Dr. Isi Sulemana, who is an energy strategist. He joins me on Zoom as well. As we have been reporting, John Jinapor has been nominated as energy minister. Good afternoon to you. What do you think about this nomination, and what should be his focus if he gets passed?
Yeah, thank you very much, Darrell. Good afternoon to you and your cherished viewers and listeners in Ghana and across the globe. Indeed, that is refreshing to know, and I think that's also predictable. If you notice what was going on with respect to the transition, I mean, John was the lead fellow with respect to all energy issues, related issues, even also with respect to the last issue that came up. You notice he was the first person to raise the issues as in, fuel shortages and other things. Now, that said, I think he has the track record to succeed if you put the right, strategies in place. And the fact that he's not a neophyte, or what I would say a novice within the space, I think that the president wants to demonstrate that they want to hit the ground running. And he's somebody I think he is not new to the space. And so with a little bit of support from stakeholders and coordination, very good coordination from the stakeholders, I think John will succeed. We're looking at the experiences that he's bringing on board. I don't have any reservation, and I congratulate him for that, for that appointment, even as he awaits the vetting processes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and to follow up with the other question that you asked, where the focus areas are, the energy sector, I believe if a government is going to struggle, look at the energy and finance sector. I'm not saying that other sectors are not crucial. They are equally important. But in my opinion, I think finance and energy, they are the artery to all other ministries. Not to say that, not to downplay other ministries. If you mess up with these two ministries, you can always be certain that you're gonna struggle. So yes, there is a huge task ahead, and you just know that we still haven't gotten a stable power supply. Our power supply has been erratic. That should be the major focus. And I'm just gathering information that the president is intending to reactivate the Millennium Compact Bill. If you remember PDS, that couldn't pull through. And the fact that, I mean, they are beginning to mention all these things is quite refreshing.
What do you think of that, though?
Yeah, so I think it's positive, Darrell. Every pundit who understands the intricacies of the workings of the power sector will agree that the power sector requires, the distribution arm of it requires some capital injection. And if you remember, this particular PDSD was to tackle the distribution arm of it. Unfortunately, it got flawed and it was revoked. And so what it will do two things, Darrell. Number one, it will inject a bit of efficiency. And number two, it will bring a really fresh capital into the system. And that's what is required. Most of these losses that we have in the distribution chain, actually, some are related to capital. The procurement of smart meter system, distribution line, transmission line, all requires capital. So yes, that is non-negotiable. If you are able to have a competent private sector player who will not be a parasitic on the system, but come to be a kind of a symbiotic and a professional relationship with the government of Ghana or with the nation Ghana, I think that will be welcome into the space, Darrell.
Well, today we're expecting a roadmap to tackle the power crisis that we have been faced with. I mean, yesterday was in the news that we don't have enough fuel left to power our plants, and the Energy Minister Designate, he sounded the alarm, said it's just a few days left and would head back to doom so. Well, a new technical committee has been formed. They're supposed to present a roadmap today. What should that roadmap entail, do you think?
Yeah, so the roadmap should look at the immediate issues just to solve it. Though I call the immediate issue, if you look at the issue that was, the release that was brought by Britco, a very good job. But I call all the recommendations as firefighting, Darren. However, that is required now. So what the roadmap should look at is the possible scenarios. I think they should work to renegotiate with WAPCO. That's my take. Because the timing is just not good. And my understanding is that this particular, maintenance is, fortunately, is preventive maintenance, but it's not proactive. I mean, it's not a corrective maintenance. Pigging activity, I've experienced a lot of pigging activity. It's normally a planned thing, So I believe if they can give this coming government some space, if they can reschedule it. I know it's very critical, it's needed, but if they can reschedule it to get their acts together, that's fine. Now, if that cannot be, it means that they may have to go for coughing up that huge amount of money, which I don't support. I'm not a fan of liquid-based fuel, especially after I'm privy to the fact that we have a huge amount of gas within our space. That would be the next option, or load shedding. I don't think we'll get to there. The best bet is to renegotiate, to extend that, so that they can settle well and understand the intricacies of the space. But long term, I believe they have to look into our gas space. We have a huge potential within our gas space. Given we are talking about only 33% that we have extracted, then only 7%, ENI only 26% of gas we have produced. We have this huge gas. What are we doing to that? And it's confirmed in place. And so, and fortunately, just to land on that, fortunately, this particular administration, they can take credit for Ghana gas. And I want to just urge them to to continue from where they left off. We need another Ghana gas, or at minimum, a dual train Ghana gas, where when there's a maintenance on one train, it doesn't put them off guard. So I think that should be the focus area. And I believe they are much aware that they are much aware that these are the areas that they have to focus to be able to bring our power sector to a stable mode.
Yeah, WAPCO mentioned yesterday that they have to cut gas supply because of maintenance works. That's going to happen, from the 20th of January. This morning, we received new reporting that may have been revised. There's no confirmation to that. We are waiting confirmation on that one, and so that's just news out there. Before we go, when we talk about energy matters, we talk about fuel, electricity, but this minister, or this John Chinapor, who has been nominated as energy minister, what else should he be focusing on in the energy ministry?
Yeah, a very good question, Darrell, because sometimes I get so disturbed that we have reduced the energy ministry to power sector issues. And I've mentioned severally that if you're an oil producer and you rely on thermal base and your fuel is gas and you have them so, you don't have excuse. And what I have noticed over the years is that we have segregated these two things as if they are not linked in most serious jurisdictions. So what I'll call is that we have to link up the power and then the petroleum sector. When I say link up, let the petroleum sector be able to feed the power sector. And that comes back to the gas that I talked about. So the petroleum sector has a lot of issues. And so it looks like we've overly saturated ourselves with the power sector. There's a lot to be done on the petroleum sector. We need a lot of policies that need to be relooked at, like both for oil, toll, and other areas. And most importantly, within the upstream, Darrell, I urge this government to nimbly resolve all the issues pertaining within the upstream.
Okay.
The good thing is they have captured in their manifesto. They have to just live through to it. The fortunate thing is that most of the issues are getting resolved at this moment in time with ENI and with TALO. So they should just stay the course, resolve the issues, and I think that would be a credible conduit to, revitalizing our dwindling oil fortunes, Darrell.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Isu Suleiman. Great to see you after a long while. I appreciate your time with us here on The Marketplace, and Happy New Year. Thank you. All right, you're watching The Marketplace here on Joy News. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we've got business and politics. We'll be discussing foreign direct investments. Don't go anywhere.